Tim Cook describes the new iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max as the most pro iPhone ever. And with a bigger battery, new cameras, and a high refresh rate display, the first ever on an iPhone, he might be right. Apple released 4 new phones, which are basically shadows of the iPhone 12 lineup. There's an iPhone 13, 13 mini, 13 Pro, and 13 Pro Max. And unlike last year, the 13 Pro and 13 Max are much closer in their capabilities, especially now that they have the same updated camera system. The iPhone 13 Pro starts at $999 and the 13 Pro Max at $1,099 for 128 gigabytes of storage. For the first time, you have the option to get 1 terabyte of storage on an iPhone. The extra storage is only available on the Pro models and pushes the price of an iPhone 13 Pro Max to $1,599, $1,600. Now I'm gonna take a dramatic pause and let that sink in. That's more storage than my work computer has. Now, you can pre-order all of the iPhones 13 starting on Friday, September 17th, and they will ship on Friday, September 24th. Also, if you want to learn more about the iPhone 13 and 13 mini, I did a whole separate video going over them. Check it out. Now, the 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max have the same squared-off design as the iPhone 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max. There is still the matte finish back and glossy stainless steel sides, but both phones come in 4 finishes: graphite, gold, silver, which has a white back, and the new Sierra Blue. Sierra Blue. I got no joke. All right, both phones gain a bit of weight too though, because the iPhone 13 Pro adds on 15 grams and the 13 Pro Max packs on an additional 12 grams. Now look, the iPhone 12 Pro Max wasn't the heaviest phone I tested in the past year, but it was definitely in the top 5. So packing on an extra half of an ounce is significant. Both Pro models have a Pro Motion display, which means it has an adaptive refresh rate between 10 and 120 Hertz. The phone automatically switches between refresh rates depending what's on the screen. Now this should make animations and scrolling look smoother and gaming more immersive. Up to now, the only Apple device to offer such a refresh rate was the iPad Pro, which uses an LCD screen instead of an OLED. Other than that, it's the same ceramic shield over the front, the same IP68 rating for water and dust resistance, and the same lightning connector on the bottom. But I am happy to report that all of the iPhones 13 now have a bigger battery. Now, Apple wouldn't say how big the new batteries are on each phone, but they do claim that it will add a longer battery life. In fact, they're saying you're gonna get 2.5 more hours per day on the iPhone 13 Pro and 90 minutes more per day on the 13 Pro Max, and that's a pretty significant increase. I look forward to seeing how it holds up in testing and everyday use when I get to review the phones. Now, it wouldn't be a Pro model without several significant camera upgrades. Both Pro models have the same new camera system. Think of the 13 Pro Max just as a bigger version of the iPhone 13 Pro. They both get a new ultra-wide camera that can autofocus, and for reference, the ultra-wide cameras on the 13 and 13 mini are fixed focus, but this new autofocus capability on the Pro models allows for a new macro photography feature, and that kicks in anytime you get within a few centimeters of your subject. The new main camera on the phones have a new sensor, and it's the largest camera sensor on any iPhone. Apple says that it can gather 1.5 times more light than the iPhone 12 Pro Max. There's a new longer telephoto lens with 3 times optical zoom. That's 1.5 times longer than the tele lens on the iPhone 12 Pro and 1.2 times longer than the tele lens on the 12 Pro Max. Apple also introduced a new cinematic mode, which can lock focus on your subject and keep them in focus whether they're standing still or moving. In fact, the iPhone can even anticipate when your subject comes in and out of the frame, and you can pull focus between one person and another. Also, you can change the focus after you record a video, which is kind of wonderful. Let's just be honest, that's pretty cool. The 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max also gained the ability to record ProRes videos. And what ProRes does is it optimizes the video files and is especially useful for people who color grade their videos or use editing software like Final Cut Pro 10 or Adobe Premiere Pro. ProRes video files do take up more space than a regular H.264, H.265 video that up to now most iPhones have recorded. So I guess this new 1 terabyte of storage is anticipating all of that. ProRes support won't be on the iPhone at launch, but is expected to be added later this year. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to try that. In fact, a lot of times when I film CNET review videos, I use the iPhone to supplement my Panasonic S1H, just to pick up a shot here or there. So very excited about ProRes. The iPhones 13 get the new A15 Bionic chip, which brings smart HDR4, and that better optimizes the dynamic range of photos and can identify scenes and textures like skies and optimizes for people's skins, and even does so in video. Night mode gets better support on all the cameras. And look, there's just so much when it comes to photos and videos that I'm glossing over right now, but know that once I get my hands on these phones, I'll go much more in depth. And last, let's talk about 5G and MagSafe wireless charging. In terms of 5G and MagSafe, nothing changes. But when you add up all of this together, the fact that the price for the 13 Pro is the same as the 12 Pro and the 11 Pro before it, and for that price, you're getting so many more meaty features and improvements, I think the Pro models look really compelling, especially that iPhone 13 Pro, which definitely stands out in pretty much every way from the baseline iPhone 13. And I couldn't say that about the 12 and 12 Pro last year. So that's all I've got. Keep an eye out for my in-depth reviews on all of the new iPhones. If you're enamored with the iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max, check out the description on this video. We're gonna add pre-order links when they're live. But now I wanna hear from you. What do you think of the iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max? Do you like that Apple made both of the Pro devices essentially identical? And do you like that compared to the iPhone 13 that there's a bigger gulf of features and differences between them now? Throw your thoughts in the comments.